This is WAB's Week in Review, the show where we look back at the last few days of stories from your WAB News team. I'm Alex Helmick, managing editor of WAB News. Coming up,
something we had never experienced before and didn't anticipate.
Residents all over the Atlanta metro area had their water taste and smell musty and dirty last fall. Now, water utilities across the region are planning how to prevent that stinky problem from happening again. That's coming up in about 10 minutes. First up, though, a quick note. Governor Brian Kemp signed a bill this week to suspend the state's gas tax. That's 33 cents a gallon on unleaded, 37 cents on diesel, as prices spike due to the Iran war. It'll take a couple of days to kick in. Well, officials in the small city of Social Circle, about an hour east of Atlanta, have locked the water meter on the warehouse Immigration and Customs Enforcement bought to detain thousands of people. WAB's Emily Wu Pearson explained city leaders have repeatedly expressed to federal officials the city does not have the infrastructure to support the scale of the facility.
Social Circle officials first learned about ICE's plan to detain up to 10,000 people in a warehouse there in December, after the Washington Post reported on leaked documents. ICE bought the warehouse for about $128 million from a private corporation. City manager Eric Taylor says ICE's analysis for the facility shows water and sewer needs that far exceed what the entire city has a permit for, and that an adequate engineering analysis needs to be conducted. Taylor says the lock will remain until ICE can show a water and sewer plan that does not overwhelm the city's infrastructure. Emily Wu Pearson, WABE News.
Well, TSA workers in Atlanta and across the country have now missed one full paycheck, leading to staffing shortages, with some needing to call out to take second jobs. Democrats in Congress want Republicans to agree to changes on how immigration officers operate following two fatal shootings of U.S. citizens in Minnesota before approving the Department of Homeland Security budget. As WABE's Marlon Hyde told us, this all happened while recent severe weather led to scores of flight cancellations earlier this week.
Jamaica Long was trying to get back home to Cleveland when she realized the security line at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport was 2 hours long.
I had to go from all the way down there around the corner to all the way down there and then do a maze all the way around there. I came to the acceptance like, I ain't gonna make this flight.
She then faced another long line at the counter to rebook her flight. Nearby, 18-year-old Noya Caspin is sitting on the floor with her head leaned up against a wall. She's a student at North Carolina State, heading to Mexico for spring break with friends. But then bad weather derailed their plans.
We were supposed to have a short layover here, and then our second flight got canceled, so now we're stuck in a new place that we don't really know.
Airlines say the stakes are high as they expect more than 170 million passengers this spring. At a press conference outside Atlanta's airport, Aaron Barker, the president of the local union that represents TSA workers, said working without pay is not sustainable.
Many are coping with eviction notices, vehicle repossessions, empty refrigerators, and overdrawn bank accounts. Every available financial option has been exhausted.
His union wants Congress to separate funding for TSA from other Department of Homeland Security offices, including ICE. Barker says without action, staffing challenges will rise and passenger wait times will increase. Marlon Hyde, WABE News.
Grady Health System officials have announced plans for a $1 billion medical campus in South Fulton County. They say it'll help fill the gap left by the 2022 closures of Wellstar's Atlanta Medical Center and AMC South in East Point. WABE's Melissa Fado told us about it.
A new 200-bed hospital will join a proposed primary and specialty care medical office and a soon-to-open freestanding emergency department to create a healthcare campus in Union City. In reaction to the Wellstar closures, the county led a study in 2023 that found South Fulton residents experienced worse healthcare outcomes than those in North Fulton. They also faced more barriers, like a 30-minute or longer drive to see a doctor. Grady Chief Administrative Officer Shannon Sale told the Fulton County Board of Commissioners Wednesday this project will help deliver care in one location.
Not a fragmented system that some of it's close to home and some of it's far away, that's all together right there in South Fulton.
The hospital will make up 90% of the campus's total cost. Fulton County will fund a third of it. It will also put less stress on Grady's Hospital downtown, one of Georgia's 6 Level 1 trauma centers, according to President and COO Anthony Saul.
So we envision this strategy not only benefiting the South, but also as a strategy to strengthen the trauma center.
Expected completion for the new campus is 2031. Melissa Fato, WABE News.
Well, for many Atlantans last fall, their water tasted really bad. Get a glass of water from the sink and it tasted like dirt. Take a shower and it smelled musty. Utilities say they were swamped with complaints of smelly, gross water. As WABE's Marissa Mecki reported, while most everyone's water is back to normal, drinking water operators around the region spent big bucks to fix that problem, and they're looking at how to prevent it in the future.
Every fall, Cole Blackwell from the Cobb County Marietta Water Authority says his team watches out for a seasonal problem in their drinking water sources.
We're one of the few utilities in Metro Atlanta that has the ability to test for MIB in-house.
MIB is a compound made by algae and bacteria in water. It's not harmful for humans to drink, but it has a musty, dirty smell and taste that people can't stand. Blackwell says they've seen higher levels of it flowing out of Lake Lanier, down the Chattahoochee River, and into one of their drinking water intakes for years. So,
back in 2020, we began construction of a powdered activated carbon treatment system at our intake on the Chattahoochee River.
He says it was built to handle a level of MIB they'd never even seen before, 20 parts per trillion. But this past fall, levels reached over 6 times that in the river, and in Lake Lanier, 50 times that amount.
Something we had never experienced before and didn't anticipate.
He says the utility paid about $700,000 out of their savings to treat the water more intensively. And Cobb's not alone.
So one of the things we're in the process of doing is looking at a design to upgrade our activated carbon systems to be more efficient.
That's Quentin Fletcher with the City of Atlanta's Department of Watershed Management. He didn't specify how much, but he says Atlanta spent extra money on activated carbon for their water treatment, just like Cobb. But all these professionals agree there's one big way to limit the algae growth that's affecting the whole region: reducing pollution into Lake Lanier. Jess Sterling from the Chattahoochee Riverkeeper says a lot of stuff flows off of land and into the lake.
Any sort of lawn fertilizers, leaking septic tanks, leaking sewer lines, feces, industrial inputs, or anything like that can cause nutrients to come into Lake Lanier.
Nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus. Great in fertilizers, but in this case, Sterling says they can cause the algae
to grow excessively.
But she says these nutrients run off from all sorts of places, and that makes a big picture solution a logistical challenge. Some politicians are already at work trying to spur more collaboration. Last year, U.S. Congressman Rich McCormick, whose district includes Lake Lanier, secured $2.5 million from the federal budget for a regional effort to reduce nutrient pollution into the lake. It'll be led by the Georgia Water Planning and Policy Center in partnership with local governments and conservation districts. And Republican State Senator Drew Echols of Gainesville is one of several lawmakers reestablishing the Lake Lanier Caucus, a group focused on addressing water quality and management issues for the lake.
I just think we need to be communicating and at better levels than we currently are. So that's one of the reasons we wanted to resurrect it.
The reformed caucus met for the first time in late February. Echols says he intends to include state and federal environmental agencies and other lawmakers who serve the region around the lake to tackle the stinky problem. Marissa Mecki, WABE News.
You're listening to WABE's Week in Review with me, Alex Helmick. Georgia has one of the largest populations of women veterans in the nation, and women who've served in the military are at higher risk for pregnancy complications than civilians, according to the VA, especially if they have PTSD or other mental health conditions. For our series called Invisible Scars, Jess Mador had this look at how some veterans groups are addressing the issue.
Not so much, okay?
It's a weekday morning at an American Legion post east of Decatur. A banquet hall is decorated with red and blue balloons, military memorabilia, and American flags.
All right, you're going to go up.
At the front, recreation therapists lead about 36 women veterans through some standing stretches. They reach their arms overhead, down to the floor, and back up.
Very good.
Then they practice a line dancing routine.
So it's 1, 2, 3, and 4. The military came out. I saw in here.
The exercises are part of a new initiative put on by the Atlanta VA Women's Program every month, and it's expanding, even as the Trump administration has continued to cut the VA health system over the last year. Director Kathleen O'Loughlin says it's meant to feel like an informal meetup.
Our women veterans, some people, they don't have support systems. They really enjoy the camaraderie and connection with one another.
The gatherings are open to any woman who's served in any branch of the military. It's a diverse group, ranging in age from their 20s and 30s to their 70s. That's by design. O'Loughlin says the idea is to get them talking to each other about mental health and wellness across generations.
Some women that were older share some of the difficulties they had with their birth experiences or with postpartum depression or have military sexual trauma, who had to simultaneously get help for their mental health issues while they were going through a pregnancy or a postpartum period so that they can support each other. That's the benefit of these meetups.
Social connection, research suggests, can help keep women safe during and after pregnancy. The Department of Veterans Affairs reports it's needed. Women are expected to make up nearly 20% of the veteran population by 2040, and deployment increases their risk for military sexual trauma, depression, PTSD, and other conditions associated with pregnancy and postpartum complications. VA data show they include preeclampsia, gestational diabetes, and preterm birth. So, the Atlanta VA is trying to connect as many women veterans as possible to care that considers their unique needs. And gatherings like this one. Over coffee, tea, and snacks, one younger Marine Corps veteran holding her baby tells the group she welcomes their parenting stories and tips.
Like what you should do or what you should expect, kind of support heavy people that are, at those different stages going through those different things. Because, like I'm doing this by myself.
Some of the older moms at the table chime in.
We'll be the aunties or the great aunts while you're here holding the baby so you can participate and everything, but try and find that village and set up play dates, and get busy.
Georgia has one of the worst rates of maternal mortality in the U.S. Mental health conditions are a leading cause, so every meeting also includes educational presentations by OBGYNs, psychologists, and other specialists. The information is critical. Women veterans use civilian health care to get prenatal care and have their babies because the VA doesn't typically do that. Arthurine Williams-Wright served in the Army as a combat engineer from 1978 to 1992 and deployed during the first Gulf War.
And I went through much depression.
Williams-Wright says there were few, if any, programs for women when she was in the military and then reintegrating back into civilian life. She had both of her children while she was deployed. Both were born premature.
And so to come to the table and to hear that we are working together truly to be of help to one another in this community is healing.
Since the program began late last year, about 100 women veterans have participated. Williams-Wright says she hopes more younger veterans will join so they won't have to go through the struggles she and many others in her generation experienced. Jess Mador, WABE News.
This story is part of the Rosalind Carter Fellowships for Mental Health Journalism. And for more on this series, go to wabe.org/invisible scars. Finally today, a program for young girls in South Metro Atlanta is creating a safe space for them to explore self-expression, learn new skills, and make friends through braiding hair. WAB's Dormaya Vance took us there.
Add pieces as you go down to to make your braid thicker.
About 30 minutes south of Atlanta in Fairburn, some middle and high school girls are practicing on mannequin heads. 11-year-old Malia Joseph learned about the program hosting the camp called Girls Guide from a friend.
I want to be part of the braiding camp so I can help my mom with doing hair, with doing my brother and sister's hair, and just because it's interesting and entertaining for me.
Malia and the rest of the girls learned styles like cornrows and knotless braids. Nakeba Brooks led the 4-part camp. She's the founder of the Braiding School Co.
I feel like braiding is essential to our culture. So not only can you take care of your own hair and create your own styles, it also teaches them an entrepreneurial skill. So they are able to use braiding as a way to earn money as early as middle school.
Brooks says the girls are learning personal expression through black hair. Meanwhile, Fairburn Parks and Rec Program Director Tashia Davis curates this third space. She's the founder of Girls Guide.
Because like when you get a certain age, you don't want to tell your parents stuff because you feel like, maybe you feel like they're going to judge you and they're not really going to judge you. You just feel like that. But just being somebody for the teenagers to come to whenever they need me.
Middle schooler Reagan Johnson says she'll bring these skills back home and keep practicing.
I want to eventually learn how to do my own braids on my own hair because I already do my family's hair. So I would like to do better at doing my own hair.
Staff say the braiding camp may return next year, but the Girl Scout program will continue to host events this summer. Dormaya Vance, WABE News.
That's all for the show this week. My thanks to the WABE News team for all the great work. I'm Alex Helmick. Thank you for supporting WABE News and for listening to the Week in Review.